Greetings. I am Lucandelier, ruler of Freeport, presidential candidate for president of the MMORPG multiverse. You have heard many of my other opponents use tactics of slander and false accusations. I, however, will run my campaign based on facts and policy, gained while freeing the people of my city from the yoke of the oppressive class system of the nobles before. I will not give you false promises of a free house, job, or income. Nothing free is earned, and as such, you get what you pay for. Slums, digging ditches, and equal poverty for all. Banning things she deems to be dangerous, like plastic straws. That is what Queen Antonia Bale of Kinos promises with her flowery words and ample cleavage. It is merely a distraction from the fact that there is not enough coin in their coffers to pay for but a fraction of the promises. Those of Jism, Maxim, and the school teacher Bellows have no policy beyond genocide of a possible workforce, a wish to end freedom, and legalize prostitution in every school. I will free the people as I have before. You will keep what you earn by the work of your own two hands, the sweat of your brow. I promise you the ability to earn a home, to earn your food, free from the oppression of oversight, of the heavy tax burden to feed the lazy and infirmed. I promise you unlimited freedom. My standing army will ensure that none threaten those from outside our borders, so that you may live a life of peace and freedom, to raise your family as you see fit, to do as you see fit, to live as you see fit. And we also still have bendy straws. I am Lucandelier, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Citizens for a Free Society.
This is RPMMORadio.
Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
A podcast all about roleplaying and MMORPGs.
I like what you got. Good job!
With your hosts, Ashen Phoenix, Sid, Jazz, Sibh'Bae, and Kishmas.
Everybody off. We need to go on a quick adventure.
Hello, role players! Thank you for tuning in to RPMMORadio. This is our 54th episode. Unlimited Power! I, of course, am one of your hosts, Ashen Phoenix. And with me, as always, is Jazz, Sib, and Sibh'Bae.
Howdy.
How's it going, y'all?
Hi, guys. Kishmas, of course, is unfortunately, he's in the dungeons right now. He did what is unspeakable.
We don't want to talk about it, but there was a guar involved in a field. He was lonely.
I
don't want
to. There was a halfling involved. Was there a halfling? No.
No,
Yes.
it was a guar. Yeah, they thought it was a halfling at first, but it turns out guar. Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah,
Was it a guar dressed like a halfling?
Man gets lonely. You know, can't. It happens. I'm not here to judge.
I see he ran afoul of the Guar Protection Committee.
Yeah, it happens. You know, PETA was involved. It was really messy. So, appreciate everybody tuning in here. We, of course, do this every Saturday at 7 Central Time over at twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Appreciate everybody that tunes in there. If you want to follow us there, give us a subscription. If you've got one, feel free. Otherwise, you can always listen to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever they call it, Android podcast app, Spotify, Podbean, wherever podcasts are sold, even though they're always free. Unless, of course, you're at one of those ones that makes you pay first, which are just the worst. Those ones are awful. Don't do that. If you're doing a podcast, don't do what that one was that Sib got, where they like, here's 10 minutes of the episode. If you'd like to hear more, subscribe to our Patreon.
I was so sad. I was like, yeah, I like the 10 minutes, but I wasn't paying for the rest of it.
Yeah. It's like, you're good. You're not that good. Just like us. We're not that good.
No, because there's free ones out there that are really good.
Oh, yeah, there's one. Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Which is why, if you are, like this one is a free one, but, if you love what you hear and you want to support it anyway because you've just got boatloads of money just hanging around or, some couch cushions, or you didn't go to Starbucks for like one day and saved yourself $8. You too can be one of our Patreon donors, which we give a special thanks to every single one of them, including those at our Raid Boss level, DeTruth Bob and Lauren M. You can give those over at patreon.com/RPMMORadio if you want to go over there and throw some cash our way. We are not we are definitely not anti-capitalism here, just like our future MMO president.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep dream on, bro.
Mm-hmm. Just saying, bunch of commies. So. I do want to give a quick shout out to Yunfei. She's doing okay, but she is unfortunately in the hospital this week with some personal issues. So any thoughts, prayers, happy Juju, Mojo vibes, whatever you guys want to do to send it her and Rahanar's way, I think they'd appreciate that. They're good people. They just have if it wasn't for bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, it sucks, and she is doing fine. She just had to stay at a hospital for about a week or so. So hopefully by this time next week she'll be here and in chat and doing the things that she does every time we do the show, and back role playing and having fun, other than eating what I assumed is horrible hospital food.
Poor Uni, man, that's rough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I feel for her, but we're glad she's all right, and we just want to give a quick shout out and our love, and want everyone to keep the happy mojo vibes going towards them, especially out where they live, where it is actually today the temperature just under that of the surface of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Truth.
That's right. So let's see. I don't think we have a whole lot else. Everyone have a good week before we get into the fun stuff.
Yeah,
everyone
had a pretty good week.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I was really busy. So
Yeah.
I didn't get much writing done, but I did get my computer all set up and running, and everything's running smoothly, and it boots amazingly
Is that
fast.
not the most joyous and at the same time annoying time period in getting a brand new computer?
Yes, you have to get everything reset up.
Yeah,
and it's such
and you've
a
got to
pain.
download, you got to be like, oh, look, I need Java. Oh, look, I need Adobe. Oh, look, all these stupid little programs that you're like, oh, yeah, I forgot I need that shit.
Yeah, and because my internet is so slow, I actually didn't even get my computer for a week, the week before last, because we decided rather than doing it the way we usually do, and I hobble along with half a computer, we would just set it up.
Like plug
and
it
then
in on the
download at
side.
night. Yeah, and just set it up and get everything downloaded ahead of time.
That's
then
smart.
all we had to do is just install stuff. And we did forget a couple things, like I found out yesterday, my printer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Drivers.
Because my printer it's more than that. It's such a pain. I love Brother, but they are very proprietary. So getting the system set up is a pain in the butt. And I needed to print something up and I couldn't. I was so irritated. Not at Jay, just because I completely forgot it, and so did he. And I tried to do it, and then Windows was like, you need your printer, but it's not working, so run the troubleshooter. And the troubleshooter said, okay, I think we figured out what's wrong. Here's how to fix it. So I pushed fix, and it deleted it off my computer.
Meanwhile, her sons were circling her office like Jawas waiting for the new tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because they get my old computer, the one boy does, Xander gets my new one, so they were just like, waiting. Yeah. And Jay gets his new system in about 2 weeks, and then Nathan gets his. So
I will say that is one thing I love. I was actually listening to another Limit Break Radio guys. They have not Cox. They have, what's the other fucking one everyone hates that starts with the C? Comcast.
Yeah,
and like he was, I feel for him too, because they couldn't stream their show live because apparently they had a data limit that they've never had before.
Oh wow!
And he was fuming. There's nothing I feel worse than somebody that He says they have internet power outage with that company every like 2 or 3 days, and man, for us that's like. Might have that like once every 2 or 3 months, and even then it's only like I need to restart the router. Bloop, it's back. Yeah,
Windstream is a pain in the butt, but
we've
they've
had
gotten
them out
much
here.
better.
Garbage.
They got tired of giving us free everything, so they decided they'd fix, at least get it running reliably, because literally every time it goes out, they give me a free month.
Oh yeah. He was saying that he wants to run a business line to his thing because they do the Limit Break guys. They do Checkpoint Radio. We'll probably actually be helping them promote stuff here with FanFest for Final Fantasy 14 coming up. And they wanted to charge him $3,000 to run fiber optic cable to his apartment unit. And of course, it's not like they would be like, well, thanks for paying the $3,000. We'll just let you use it alone. Then they'd be like, all right, well, now we can put it in for all these other people. Thanks for paying for it, jackass. And of course he's not.
They did that to us too. They were like, if you do this, you pay this much, we'll run that line out to you. And like, I'm going to pay you a bajillion amount of money over the next 10 years to use those lines. I'm not paying you
it for other
to
people
install
too.
it. Right. I'm not paying you to install it. So if you don't going to put it in, forget it. I'll just have slow internet. I don't care.
Yeah. And then you'll just keep giving it to me for not keeping up your end of the bargain. Yeah.
Yep. I said, and every time it goes down, you give me a month off. So eventually you will have paid for it yourself. Just letting you know, because I'm never going away.
So all that aside, I had a pretty okay week. Nothing too special.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. Good point. Thanks for getting us back on. Yeah, mine wasn't too bad.
Back on topic.
We actually had a pretty nice, like weather-wise, it was actually way below. So I got no complaints. Had some good role play this week. It was a good week. Can't complain.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that terrible tornado that ruined our main street apparently sucked all the humidity out of the state, and it's been very, very nice.
You're welcome.
Cool. Nice. You're welcome.
Yeah, it went straight up in an arc and landed right smack dab in the middle of Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Congratulations, you get it now. Thanks.
Oh, man. All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad everyone had other than, poor Uni and Rahanar, who have had a terrible week. I guess they took our bad luck for the week to themselves, which...
And Kishmas, no less, as he's sitting in the dungeon.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, you do that, there's consequences for every action. I think we all learned that as role players. Unless you're certain kinds of role players, like the ones we're going to talk about tonight. So that we can get to those guys, what have we been doing in role play this week? Hold on. Mailman's here. Let's see here. Let me just get this.
Sorry. I know what's coming.
It says Jazz should go first. Huh. That is really convenient that he just came into our living room like that.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
That's,
man.
hold on.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, go ahead and help us up whatever you want in the fridge.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jazz, the mailman has spoken.
Well, first and foremost, Kia Karis is my main, and she runs the guild, and she had her baby
Who
today
gives a shit about a baby?
for an hour. So it was the quickest birth ever. I'm done with pregnancy RP for the foreseeable future. Woo! I don't care what the dice say.
Heard that before.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to roll for a while. That's ridiculous. That was not fun. So that's done. So I'm happy about that. And they're all cooing over their baby and very, very happy. And poor Trajan is going to have to get used to having a daughter. So that'll be fun RP. We get to do the whole sleepy RP now because they aren't going to sleep for the next 6 months. Let's see. Telvanni RP has continued to be my busiest RP line so far. Soldrini started out the week at the tea house, having a handful of the Telvanni that are in her little group show up with her and socialize with people. And that was a lot of fun until Dallatori showed up and got drunk, and they had to handle that. It was still fun. Oh, Sealy. But Sealy, she was less than happy about that. She did also have a meeting with the new commander finally. She just simply decided she would go to the Abbey and wait until someone talked to her. And she did that, and she got to watch someone whipped for a transgression of some kind. Somebody did walk up and say, "Can I have your weapon, please?" "Oh, yeah, sure." And then she just stood there for the longest time until somebody actually asked who she was. That was kind of fun. But she had her meeting with the commander, and they had their little discussion, and then she went on her merry way. She's been a lot of fun for me because we're working on her manipulating of people and manipulating situations, and she has spies and all that stuff. It's been kind of fun. Zasher was promoted off screen and then did a normal training in his new uniform on Monday. Or Mondas, excuse me. Huh?
Initiate,
yes. Now he's an initiate ordinator. And then he took trial in his trial of mystery, which was really interesting. And has changed the way that he looks at some things, so that's fun. Roles and such have allowed me to push him a little closer to the zealotry that he's kind of leaning towards, so he's becoming darker, which is always fun. I like dark RP.
Mm-hmm. And there's nothing darker than zealots.
Yeah, seriously. They go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So Cial continues to heal. She, for those who don't know, was badly injured in some really, really terrible rolls, which I'm infamous for. Getting attacked by an enemy. Yeah.
Did you use the bot on the game?
No, actually, I used real dice because I thought it would help.
It doesn't help.
Oh, no.
Not with Jazz.
It never helps.
No, it didn't help.
That bot is a
It was just awful. So she almost died. And so this has been a very learning time for Cial as she is kind of confronting her own mortality. It's just not something that if you have ever RP'd with Cial, she really cares much about. And now she's really got to think about what she would have lost had she not survived and what people would have gone through who missed her and who obviously care about her. So that's been a nice growing moment for her that I always say go follow the role play through and you learn a lot. And I have. And this is one of those instances where everything changes. We went to the tavern and Regier showed up using his last name rather than his first and was doing an investigation of sorts, but Cial knows him. So she was all bristly and angry. She doesn't like Dunmer to begin with, and especially Zealot Dunmer. So that was a lot of fun because I got to be all bristly and Regier got to be Regier, and I always enjoy that a great deal. And I think that was basically a whole week.
It was the shame before the wild Guar ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a pretty good week. What about you, Strafay?
Well, I had actually a lot of role play this weekend. Or all week, rather. Hang on a sec. Going to go into my story mode.
Gather round, children. Story time. Gather round.
Story time.
You in the back. Yes. Yes. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, so you're the kangaroo.
Kizian.
Oh, who's doing that?
Do what now?
What's going on
I
with
don't
you?
know.
I don't know. Roleplay started with Kizdian early in the week. He strode out into the Bailey and stood ready for the day's basic training. Of the day's many annoyances, he thought, out from the barracks marched a line of gold hats. After a time, they all lined up, and he had yet to see Zaz. That wasn't until Zaz said something from under his newly gold-plated face. Well, well, Sirrah. Might I carry your mace? Shine your boots. Polish your armor. Shut up, kids. He heard from under the new gold-plated Zaz. Yes, Ordinator Zaz. Whatever you say, Sirrah. I am but the lowly recruit, and not worth mentioning. Verbal sparring went back and forth until the High Ordinator came out and grunted some new orders. As he did push-ups, he thought, crossed in his mind, I really hate this training. After the fiasco of shock training, Kizdian was summoned to attempt his final trial of mercy once more. This time, he thought, I shall go for blood. His opponent was another Halalu, overconfident, arrogant, just like me, Kizdian mused. Now I really hate him. After a short duel in which Kizdian did go for blood, he won and tended to the other Mer's wounds, falling back on his old bandit skills, tying his arm up, sending him on his way. Didn't hurt that he gave the other Halalu a bag of gold for his troubles, and everybody ended amicably. They all met for food in the mess hall, in which a certain curate caught his eye. After several attempts at flattery, Kizdian was informed that this woman liked her Mer with facial hair. Well, my next goal looks quite easy, he thought with a grin. Now, later in the week, I got on my main character, Trath, my Altmer High Elf. Trath was excited about the picnic social at Voley's estate. He had a prior engagement the day before, and as such, had to cancel the poetry hour. He instead met with some old friends at the Riften pub. He found Sia, who had indeed escaped, and followed his tracking ward all the way to the Riften pub. The ward being concealed in her crutch, he never was the wiser, where he found her drinking mead with Voley. Later, a rather intense Dunmer joined them by the name of Lord Adore, which Trath thought was suspicious. Nonetheless, they all shared a quiet evening, tit for tat, trading barbs, trading laughs. On the following day, he reached Voley's gates, and he was allowed to go past. And as he began to make his way up to the estate door, Voley strode out in full formal gown, a vision of beauty with her hair made up just so. This caught him off guard, and when he quickly greeted her, kissing her hand just so and complimenting her new attire, she said, My mom said I need to dress like this for Altmer society. Trath raised an amused brow and replied, While you do look quite striking, darling, I much prefer you as your normal armor-clad self. The honest you is by far more beautiful to behold. She seemed to grin at this and proclaimed, Good, I'm burning this damn dress. He followed her down to the beach. Sorry. Where she had a proper spread laid out. Small talk progressed about this and that, and suddenly Lord Caves appeared from the heated pool. Behave, kids, he said as he showed up, still stealing a kebab of meat, and went back to the pool. They decided to join him to be social. They each attempted not to admire the other as they reclined in the pool, and eventually Caves proclaimed it was time to leave, and attacked the pool with a downward punch one would think would be infused with magic, sending all the pool water leaping out and washing Trath and Voley out with it. They chuckled and traded small jokes. Hang on, I just bollocked my own notes. Sorry, kids. I'm in the story time.
Interlude.
They made small jokes and they chuckled from the recovery of being washed out of the pool, and they eventually found themselves embracing tenderly. A moment later, Trath was told, Stay the night? She asked at length, and so Trath did, against his Altmer pattern of protocol. The next day, Guild Night had a proper showing, and Trath was there with a little lighter kick in his step. He greeted one and all, enjoyed the performance held by Stranrick and Lady Jen. The highlight of his evening, however, is when Lady Voli showed up fashionably late and quite well dressed. And that was my RP for the week.
What did they do when they stayed the night?
Oh, you know.
That comes
She made him
in
sleep on the
episode
couch.
69.
Oh, no.
Two very different answers there.
One of these things is not
Is
like
not
the
like
other.
the
So what,
Nothing actually happened. It was fade to black. But
what's the Elder Scrolls equivalent of Netflix and chill?
other.
Fire watching and chill, I guess. I don't
There you
know.
go, probably.
That's...
now I'm blushing.
Well, in truth,
know.
I think her stolen cat slept on the couch, but hey, it is what it is.
Oh, I'm sure there was a kitty involved.
I was actually amused because your story could have, as you started about, she opened her gates and let him in.
Oh,
At first, I
yes.
thought you were going to be really obtuse. Oh, no, this is part of the story. I just have a dirty mind. Okay.
Yeah.
As he made his way up to her palace, I was just like,
Sujama and chill. There you go,
That would be-
Truth Bomb.
That would be your dirty mind, darling Jazz.
yes,
Man,
well, we all
get-
know I have one.
Get your mind out of the gutter. Ooh.
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll hit
That's
mine
not
up next
possible.
because I've got to do the other advertisement. I don't want to totally blow my voice out. So, Sib, you'll be last. You get the great honors
I
of
get the end.
you get the great honor of being the anchor, the strength that holds this entire
I can
thing
do this.
together.
I got this.
That's
I got
right.
this.
So I'll do mine. Basically, I'm just gonna read Tarvala's journal because it was easier last time. This is Tarvala. This is just kind of what has been happening with her. She had a lot go on this week, and a lot will probably be coming in the future as well. So, hello, Mr. Journal. Been a while again. Things have been moving very quickly. I was just stepped down a few weeks ago as commander. I don't know how to take it at first. It wasn't anything against Dravis exactly, who did take his position, but rather what it would be for me and him, or would mean for him, and in some ways for me. However, that worry has since vanished. Seeing him with Nathala and their new baby, and having time to be with his family as a hand of Almalexia, well, I get it. I think he's doing what he needs to do to have a happy life, and I can't begrudge him that. For not telling me myself of what he was doing, yes, on that, I can't begrudge him. I've been put in charge of the Order of War in Dravis' stead as he takes on commander. There hasn't been much to do at the moment. Many have shuffled off, with only really myself and Sio having been active, and Sio is often away on missions. There's only 2 new additions, though. Winds, who has just only fully become an Ordinator, and Dawnshire, who's working in progress as he goes through his trials. Winds even recently sent me a missive about wanting to use a Warhammer instead of the typical shield and mace. And I've every intention of actually allowing it, but only after proving that she can use it in combat. I'm thinking that maybe a spa might be in order. Only way to know for sure, of course, and I'd get to test her metal and firsthand and see if she's fully working with what we have. So, the strategy thoughts are flowing. I don't know if I'll be given the full position or not, and if they'll bring in someone new to head it up from the outside. I hope I'm finally worthy of the promotion. If not, I'll be rather put out by it, but I won't give up. I'll never give up. I've always wanted... I've already warned both Dawnshire and Winds that ass-kissing, devious maneuvering, and other ways of manipulating situations will not get them anywhere, other than maybe a lashing. I have no patience for maneuvering and backstabbing. I've seen the other ordinators and even clergy use to raise their station and ranks within the tribunal. Frankly, it just pisses me off. Our brothers and sisters and ourselves live and die by those at our left and right in combat. We serve a greater purpose than ourselves. You put your personal bullshit aside and focus on the tasks before you. If you're worthy, the three will make sure others see it. What will happen from there will happen without the machinations. I also got to see a jousting tournament. Our champion, Dralina, got knocked out in the first round. Magistrix Sibh'Bae lost her mind, throwing down a glass and shattering it on the ground, calling for the arrest on the grounds that Elm Civvy wouldn't have allowed it if she hadn't done something wrong. Apparently, the Magistrix is a very sore loser. I spoke with her after at the Abbey and told her that her behavior was a bit of an embarrassment. She huffed, but finally relented, even inviting me to stay for tea and have some talk some more. I like her, and I consider her a friend, and the hardest thing a friend can do is be honest, even if it might hurt or not be what they want to hear. I know she would and probably will one day do the same for me. Hopefully not anytime soon, right, Mr. Journal? Well, I guess that'll be it for now. Have a good one. So, there you go. That's my journal.
I would read my journals, but they would take too long.
Yeah, I made that one purposely short. Anytime I read one, it won't be the usual. I can go with 2 or 3 pages too, and it's.
And we might have to put an X rating on yours, Jess.
Yeah,
I would on a lot of them.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
I do like this new style of reading what happened, like in story mode for your RP. I think it's more engaging, so it's kind of fun.
I'm
I
glad
should
you
try
guys-
to do it. I thought I was doing it, but you guys do it a little differently. I'll try it, see if I can pull it off.
Well, you do. You know, yours is just fine
good.
too.
You do
Yeah,
it just fine, Jess.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, it's not really a story. It's narrative. I do a
It's more of
narrative.
a
not really.
yours is more of a narrative. There's nuances there, but you know, it gives me also. I've kind of come to realize if I have an excuse to write a journal, then I'm more likely to do it, and being able to actually read it on the show as well is kind of an incentive as well. Even though I don't know what I was reading at my old 4th grade level there on that one. Trying to do a female voice is something new that I will have to do a lot of practice at.
Yeah, it's going to scratch up your voice if you're not careful.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go before that, because I've got a very difficult one coming up. So, with that, Sib, what'd you do?
Did have a lot of RP this week, like everybody else. I started my week out with, I actually RP'd with Roger, who is Kishmas's character, and we were at the tea house. It was weird because there was a lot of people that I felt like we knew, but it was just me and him. We just kind of sat there and had tea and spoke until I think Sully, Jazz, you guys showed up on Sully and your Telhani. Yeah. And then I bolted so I could finish some RP up with Sibh'Bae on Trithalis. But the one thing I wanted to talk about, or a couple of the things, were that we did at Guild Night, me and our friend Caves, who plays Strainrick, a master bard, did a performance that we spent 2 different days working on and setting up, and it was a lot of work. But he had came up with this song called "Looking Through Your Eyes," and it was a duet, and I was playing on my character Jen, who is a Nord, and she actually is an entertainer / companion. And so we thought it would be fun to do this, and he came up with a really cute idea of how to. They were a young couple that didn't really notice each other, and when we came out on stage, he was raking and I was sweeping, and we kind of played like they backed up into each other and noticed each other, and then got embarrassed, of course, because it's young love, and they started singing, and I have to say, Strainrick Caves, he put so much work into this. He came up with the movements, the theme, the ideas and the song, and it just was really a lot of fun. And I think it went off really well because everyone was telling us how well it was, and he said he got a lot of tells saying how good of a job we did.
It was choreographed. You guys just were obvious. You had practiced it. It was really impressive.
Yeah, we did like 2 full nights of practice. Like, I think we started at 7 and we didn't get done till it was after 10:30.
Seemed like a Disney show, but in role play. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And he even, he came up with the idea of where during one part of the song, Jin would kind of run to him and he would pick her up by the waist. Well, she's a Nord and he's a Bosmer. So it was,
well, he's an Imperial, actually. I don't think he's a Bosmer.
Oh, I thought he was a...
He looks like a
Bosmer. He looks like a Bosmer, but I believe he's a small Imperial.
Okay. I didn't know that. I thought
he doesn't have pointy ears.
He is small. But it was just, he's like, do you think, when we were coming up with that little part of the...
Oh, Breton. He's a Breton. Sorry.
Breton.
He just corrected us. Look at that.
Get your shit together.
But when he came up with that idea, he was like, does that sound too corny? And I was like, no, it sounds like it's going to be fun. So, I went through and wrote it up, and we shared the document, which I must say Google Docs is awesome because you can share the document and you can both go in and edit it. Mm-hmm. That's what we use for the show. So he would go in and edit things that he wanted to change, and I just kept typing up stuff, and when he would say something, I'd go in there and type it in, and then he could go in and edit it. But it was a lot of fun, and it was a lot of work, but it paid off. And, he's like, we should do stuff like that again. And I'm like, sure. And so...
The Dirty Dancing lift was a nice touch at the end, I'm just going to say.
Yeah, that's what it was, kind of like a Dirty Dancing lift, but it was fun. Then it
would have been more funny if you guys had switched roles and had him do it to you.
We could have, because Jen's a Nord, man. She could lift him.
Just toss him around like a sack of potatoes.
Yes. Papa toes. Okay, then I did have a lot of RP with Sibh'Bae on his character, Trath, and my character, Voli. They've kind of upped their relationship, and I think if it would have been up to him, it would have been like the Altamir way, They would have had to go through all their little ceremonies and proper things. But Voli's young, she's an orc, and she's just like, yeah, no. And so...
Let's get the boning.
You're mine. There we go. We're done.
Yeah, pretty much. She's pretty much told everybody Trath is hers.
Oh, and it's really funny, too, because if anybody says anything to Trath and she's there, he's mine.
Yeah, he's mine. And she's pretty much claimed him as her mate.
With crazy eyes, no less. You didn't add that part.
Yeah.
But I will say during that tavern RP that we kind of had at the Riften, where everybody was kind of around just hanging out doing casual RP, Kishmas's character, everyone said he showed up, and it was hilarious because Voli turned and kissed Trath, and Kishmas made a emote that he was going to throw up in it. So it was hilarious. Yeah. It was so funny. And then I just have one more quick thing on my clergy, my little novice Kilvin. She is moving on with her teachings and stuff, and she got offered a chance to be like kind of an apprentice to an acolyte, and his name is Rolds. I never know if I say these right. But she kind of got transferred to where he is, and they got to meet up last night, and he asked her a lot of different things, why she was in why she went with the clergy, what made her decide to do that. And she basically told him that it was her father. She was kind of a wild child, and he was worried that she was going to go down the wrong path, so he forced her to go into the temple at, is it Guinness? Is that how you say it? How do you say that? It's Gnisis.
It's Gnisis.
Gnisis.
Something like that, yeah.
Thank you. But he basically forced her into that position because he was raising her all by himself, and wasn't a well-off mirror, and she took the position in the temple and got transferred to the Abbey of St. Dellen, and now she's transferred to work with Rolls, and she explained to him that, that was her dad's choice, but after she was there for a while, she realized this is what she wanted. She wanted to serve the tribunal, and she was happy to do it. And he said, well, do you do it for your family? And she goes, no, I do it for Almasiva. Is that how you say it?
Almasivi.
Almasivi. Yes, thank you. These words. Who comes up with these words?
It's easy. Seriously. It's easier to type them than to say them out loud.
Exactly.
Yes.
But she does it for Almasivi. She does it for the people that she gets to help and teach and, do the clergy thing with. So it was a good, basically like an interview. And so I'm excited to see where her next step goes. Yeah. So, and that's my week in a nutshell.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I think we all had a pretty good week of roleplay, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very busy, which is nice. Summer doldrums are almost over.
I've noticed
with
that.
With school on the horizon, people are kind of wandering back to RP. And
Yeah, looking forward to their kids not being home. Yeah.
Yep.
Or
rather, their kids more tired or worn out and less whiny.
Yeah. Or doing so outside the house.
Yes.
Although ours just sits up in his room like a cave troll. He's a teenager, so he's cave troll status.
Yeah, so's mine.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing on a computer. I did the exact same thing at that age, but it was an SNES, and with my friend Jared, who we would beat the shit out of, sometimes in the game, sometimes in real life, depending on who would find the cheap moves in Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
I remember those days, bro.
We're best friends, but man, we came to blows a few times over like Mario Kart and shit like that. Yeah.
Sometimes they just need to get wailed on, man.
Oh yeah. Or the floor would take quite the beating in front of you. It was just, son of a bitch. You're so goddamn cheap.
Always a friend with a cheap move. I was about to say, it's so cheap.
Him and I were all. I was Chun-Li and he was Ryu. I'm still calling him Ryu. I know it's Ryu. No, it's Ryu. Because fuck you, Japan. That's why. Yeah, we would go back and forth. We got to the point on that Street Fighter Turbo. There was a secret code you could unlock to undo up to like 8 or 9 stars in speed. Dude, we were doing that at that speed like it was nothing. It's just insane. I look at it these days. Like I'll look at a video of that. I can't even. I don't even know what's going on. It's going so fast. How the fuck was I able to keep up with any of this? I'm old. I'm old and slow. But, all right. Well, with that...
At least you're in good company.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you are very slow.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to get beat one day, and I'm going to let it happen.
Well, what was I supposed to do? Say that, yeah, you are very old?
Well, you could say I'm old. It's better than slow.
You are slow, though. I mean...
You're slow. Anyway, shut up.
All right.
True love.
So with that, let's go to our advertiser this time.
Advertiser?
Advertiser. Everything's a mer.
Mer's the best.
The following is not an advertisement, but a warning from God himself. I just work here, don't ask me. Well, hello there. I know you may be skeptical, but yes, it is indeed I, the one true God. Oh yeah, Thor and the others are around, but I am the big cheese, as they say. Though it would be nice if he would stop leaving that hammer on our open bags of potato chips instead of just using the clip chip I provide. Anyway, I am here for a very important message and warning to you all. You are not a god. You do not know everything. That is my job. When I do it, it is a metaphysical, cosmic event. But when you do it, it is just cheating. You are playing pretend with your friends. There's really nothing to prove by pretending to be more than they are pretending to be. All you end up doing is looking like a prick. So, let this be a warning to you all. You are not meta. You are not God. Keep it up, and I'll make whatever part of your anatomy you are already overcompensating for shrink even farther. Go on and try me. I dare you. Me bless you all and enjoy the rest of the show. You bunch of sinners. All right, well, I would take him at his word.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it's yeah. So
Wise words, that.
Yeah, I'm just saying, when it sounds like a really cheap Morgan Freeman, you should probably listen to it.
It's true.
All right, so excuse me. Let's hit our main topic for the evening. Well, I choked to death on dryness. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, real quick too, by the way, if anybody, we're going to talk about God modding and metagaming. So, if anybody has any goofy ass stories, I mean, we've all bumped into these people. Sorry, back's itching. At one time or another, you're feel free to call, join our Discord at rpmmorradio.com/discord. Join our Discord server, go in the caller waiting room. It looks like Ronar's doing all right now, so he's in there for now. If not, one of us will jump in there and make sure everything is A-okay and that your stuff works. But yeah, if you've ever had an instance of God modding or metagaming that you could point out to anybody, feel free to let us know. We'd love to hear stories from the people. From the people. So
that's right, lad.
Yay.
From the people, for the people.
So you're the people.
You're the
And after
people.
the people.
Hey, Sib. What's Soylent Green made out of?
People!
There we go. There's a story behind that. I don't know if we've ever told that on the show. Have we ever told... Sibh'Bae, have we ever told the Soylent Green is people story? Does that ring a bell to you?
Might have been before my time.
No, I don't think we have.
It was so...
All right, so quick interlude before we get into the main topic.
What have I done?
Yeah.
This is-
Oh, you're
this
going to
is a
love it,
good one.
Sibh'Bae. It's okay. Sib and I were, or I think were we dating or were we finally together?
We were living together.
Living
we weren't
together
married.
still. Yeah. Okay, so we went to a
were
place
living in
now
Freeman
defunct
still.
called Joe's Crab Shack, which was awesome, and it's a shame that they're all gone.
I missed Joe's.
I tell you, oh, so good. But no, we were sitting at our booth. It was actually after work, so we got done early, and we were like, let's go eat at Joe's Crab Shack. It wasn't very busy. And we were talking about something, and I was like, Soylent crabs are made out of people. And she's like, what? It's like, Soylent Green. It's the Charlton
I didn't know
Heston
what he
movie.
was talking about.
And she's
I
like,
had no clue.
because you have to understand, folks,
That's a great movie, by the way.
the way I'm here is how I am with her all the time.
Oh,
She
yes.
never knows when I'm lying or making up a story or bullshitting her just
I have
for the fun
learned
of it.
just to not believe anything that comes out of his mouth.
Right. So when I was like, no, it's like a 1970s something Charlton Heston movie. It was, there was a food substance. It was made Soylent Green, and he finds out like Soylent Green is made out of people. It's people.
And he was saying it just like that.
I said it just like that, and she's like, "You're so full of crap." And I turned to this
There was-
couple behind us, completely out of nowhere. They're having their meal. They're probably in their 40s or so. A little skinny guy and his wife or girlfriend. And I said, guys, I'm sorry to bother you, but she doesn't believe me. Can you answer one question? They're like, yeah, sure. I said, what is Soylent Green made out of? And the guy looks straight at her and says, it's made out of paper. Exactly like I was doing.
And I was just like, oh my gosh.
I was like, I told you. I wasn't bullshitting. I was dead serious. It's a thing.
It was so funny. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Really? Because he said it just like Ashton.
He did his own Charlton Heston impersonation. It was
and he even
epic.
raised his hand. I was like, are you kidding me?
He did the cheesy like.
That's glorious.
Oh man! So that was
that's the Soylent Green story.
Mm-hmm. There's a few others too. Well, we'll have to go over some stories sometime. But
A Day in the Life of Sib.
I couldn't have done that better if I had Godmodded it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So on to our main topic today, Godmodding and metagaming. I know we've talked about this off and on. I don't think we've ever actually focused fully on the two of them. Going back through stuff, I never found it. I just know that we've talked about it off and on so often, like when we were talked about character creation and things like that. I know we've touched on it, but we've never really gone into it. So, for those of you new to roleplay, if you haven't seen it by now, you're obviously very new. Godmodders and metagamers are just a persistent problem that always come up sooner or later. I mean, it's
that
inevitable.
kid on the playground who always has to have his way no matter what.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
or that one that like lies to make himself seem cooler than he is. Like I remember his name was Jonathan Walker. He's like, yeah, my parents are rich, and we have like we have in my basement we have a simulation system for like flight simulators and stuff like that, and we also have we have a skee ball table and a pool table, and it's pretty sweet, you know. And then we go to his house one time, and he's like, he has an NES, and he's like, well, it's got Flight Simulator on it. It's the same thing. Like, no, it's a Nintendo, you little turd head.
That kid
It's the same thing, right?
that kid that has a black belt, even though you guys are all in middle school, and
Right.
there's no way he can have a black belt.
Yeah, I actually think he said, you say that, I'm
Oh,
fairly
no.
certain that. How did you know Jonathan?
Uh-oh.
They're everywhere, man.
Yeah, they really are. So let's go into we'll go in. What is a Godmodder? We'll give you kind of the definition of it here. In roleplay, a Godmodder is someone whose character is, for all purposes, invincible. No attacks or any techniques will ever work against their character. The character can instantly recover from anything that happens to him or her. And of course, the character can do anything to any other character, and the other characters aren't allowed to defend against it. Hi, I'm Goku. You know.
And they're the best looking. They're the best smelling.
No amount of plot armor can ever protect a
And they have all the power.
Exactly.
But let's see. So in Jez, did you want to read the nuance to that you? I think pretty sure you added that.
Yeah, I did. That's
Because
orange,
nuance
so
sounds
it's
like
mine.
a word you would use.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you got me there. Okay, so a nuance or another smaller side to this would be someone who makes it up as they go along as to how amazing their character is at being the best at everything at a moment's notice. They are all things such as fighter, mage, scout, master mage, master alchemist, time shifter, time jumper, plane jumper, extraordinaire, and they are half elf and half immortal, and oh yes, and their daddy was a dragon. And every time you RP with them, you find another aspect of their absolute perfectness.
You forgot the vampire part, Jazz.
Oh yeah, I'm a vampire. No, I'm not. I'm a vampire. No, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
exactly.
Yeah. I'm a vampire. I want babies. I'm not a vampire. Pfft, babies. I'm a
There it
vampire.
is.
Rawr, I'm going to eat my babies. I want more babies. Yeah.
I wish you weren't being true.
So true. Sad, but true.
So that's I mean, it basically they're just the people that they typically when they emote, it's like they don't attempt anything. It's just an automatic hit. There's everything. They're like, dodges out of the way, like Neo or something like that.
Is hit but does no damage because they have this special skin that they were born with.
I got a story about a couple of them I met EQ2 days.
Well, yeah. Well, and the bullet dodging worked in Matrix Online. At least there it made sense.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But nowhere else does that really work. And the other one is we put them together because really, if you get one, you typically get the other. I mean, has anybody ever not seen one or both used at the same? They're usually like in tandem. They're like peas and carrots.
I've seen the peas and carrots syndrome, and it was actually a couple playing the peas and carrots syndromes. They were two immortals that could do anything, could not be touched.
Wonder Twin powers activate. Form
Pretty
of
much.
a douchebag. Shape
Correction.
of a nozzle.
Double douchebag activate.
Seriously, it's not wrong. That's why it's funny.
Yeah, sad but funny. So metagaming describes a player's use of real-life knowledge, OOC typically, concerning the state of the game to determine their character's actions. When said character has no relevant knowledge or awareness under the circumstances.
It's also sometimes used for people who have multiple characters and all their characters know absolutely everything at all times about all their characters, no matter where they are or what's going on.
Yeah, the knowledge learned from one transfers over to another.
Immediately, without them never even meeting or having any way to
But
talk.
they told me, you just logged off and logged on. Yeah, we saw each other in passing.
Or it's that guy who reads your character's journal and then suddenly knows this even though you told no one.
That's the big one. That's one reason why people get real on journals.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of people who won't read journals now because of the metagaming that takes place. It's just too much drama. They don't want to do it.
Yeah, they just don't bother writing them.
And that's sad because it's a really important, in my opinion, part of character development is writing a journal and keeping track of what they do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But it's also, I personally prefer it simply because, and I know this maybe seems a little mean, but it's bait.
It
helps me to identify the people.
It can. Yeah.
It's that moment, that trap where you say, if you put it out there and somebody sticks their head in that noose, well, you know what they are.
It's a trap.
Yep.
Indeed a trap.
Concentrate all firepower on that superstar destroyer.
Someone shoot that deployable fish man already.
We just sucked him out into the vacuum of space.
Yeah.
That was not a good ending for poor Admiral Akbar. I will say though, he looked from going from the original trilogy to the new ones, he held up very well. He did not look a day over 85. It's not easy for fishmen to get reoccurring roles in Hollywood. There was that one guy from Shape of Water, but that was really him just doing a porno,
Jeez.
I
mean, she was
that
cute.
didn't go the way I thought it was going to go. I
didn't see that one coming either.
I was like,
Can I just say, I'm sorry. I know this is awful because I don't know the little actress's name, but the little black actress in that, I have never seen her in something she's not fucking awesome in. She's just the best. The little cleaning lady that was with the other chick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you've not seen, what was the one where she was with the like helper, like it was in the 50s? The Help.
The
The help. Yeah.
Oh
I love her.
Yeah.
my gosh, the way she got back at that snotty little white bitch. Oh, I loved it so much.
she was also the one.
And that
in
look
the-
on her face when she knew she had her, but she wasn't going to say anything. Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Shape of Water yet, but I've seen the other movie you're talking about. Yeah, she's a great actress.
Yeah. Oh, and was she the one? Was she in the one with
She was
NASA?
in. Yes. She
Yeah.
Yes, she was. She was
She's
also
so good in that. Like I said, she's awesome. I have no idea what her name is. Elizabeth Tran, is that it? It might be. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know her name.
Yeah, I don't even.
She's only kind of
suck at
I've just only started noticing her in like a lot of really cool movies. So, but yeah, if it's Elizabeth Tran, you're awesome, Elizabeth. So back to the metagaming thing real quick. This could refer to plot information in the game, such as secrets or events occurring away from the character, as well as facets of the game's mechanics, such as abstract statistics or the precise limits of abilities. Metagaming is an example of breaking character, as the character is making decisions based on information they could not know and thus would not make in reality. Oh, Kelly Marie Tran. Yeah, I was going to say Elizabeth Tran didn't sound right. I don't know. They're all trans. But that didn't sound right.
You're going to get smacked.
Probably. But yeah, so...
Octavia Spencer.
Octavia Spencer. Wow. This is why I don't rely on Rahanar for actresses.
He has failed us epically, sir.
No, be nice. He's had a rough week.
He is having a rough week.
So yeah,
And like I said, I don't know, so I'm just going to say every name. That if he could put like Christopher Pratt, and I'll be like, yeah, he was the short black lady in The Help. I don't know. I'm just going to say whatever.
Christopher Pratt.
Maybe he's trolling us back by sabotagery.
Could be. So, but, you know, there are those, there's definitely those two kinds. There's the kind that Sibh'Bae was saying where people are reading journals or they're getting, like, the emotional responses of, you know, like somebody that maybe in the game is playing like, hey, you know, to their face they really like them, but in their journals they're like, I can't stand this motherfucker, but I got to smile and nod, Jazz.
Yeah. See, that was the problem with Vaca's journal.
Oh, do we? Everybody? My shit's
Smoky
not...
mirrors. She
What?
was.
What's going on?
Hello. Oh, there it is.
You're fine. I can hear you.
Oh, it wasn't lighting up on my end, and Jazz deleted out.
Did I lose it?
No, you're good. Just go ahead and repeat that. I missed what you were saying because Discord decided to hiccup on my end.
Oh, okay. I just said that Vaca was like that in that she would smile and nod, and she was always friendly as long as you didn't directly cross her. But in her journal, she would say what she really thought.
Yeah.
And that was really upsetting to people because they were like, she lied to me. Yeah, she does that. But she never actually directly lies. She just doesn't tell the truth.
Yeah.
You remember the amount of folks who get butthurt over some of that stuff? They weren't even supposed to know.
And it was, there were days I would just flip out and I'd move my journal to officer.
They're offender of a lot of my old RP issues would say, did you see what Vaca wrote in her journal today? I'm like, no. Well, you should look because she thinks your character is a whole laundry list of BS. And I went, all right. And I don't know, supposed to know that. It's in a journal. What can I do about it?
Yeah.
It's yeah, they hang themselves with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, for some reason my Discord was hiccuping again, but there it goes again. So, you know, and then there's the other one that, like, this thing's talking about, which is, like, using in-game lore and stuff, like, you know, it's known, like, as to the players, but, like, a character has no way, there's no way you would know that, you know, like...
Right, if you're playing a character that's, like, 15 years old and has never been anywhere but this one little part of the world, and this is a fairly backward place, how are they suddenly going to go into a dissertation about this other race they've never met and have never read about?
Yeah, it'd be like, or like, people that are like, yeah, I know that the tribunal killed the Nerevar at the Red Mountain. It's like, well, no, you don't, because there were the only 4 people there, and they rewrote history after that. Nobody knows the true history of that.
And they sure ain't telling.
Yeah, I guess they get it later in the... you played the original Morrowind, right, Sibh'Bae?
I did. You can thank Wakachodo for that.
Do they actually ever talk about it then? I mean, that's like 100 years from ESO, but...
No, they never talk about it. You have to discover it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even then, Vivek's like, yeah, we were less than kind, but hey, I'm helping you, so we're good, right?
Yeah, or like Axmalexia in the chat says, like, someone knowing that the 3 used the Heart of Lorcan. You know, yeah. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that that's what caused the Dwemer to disappear in a flash of whatever happened. And
I hear that a lot in RP.
Yeah,
and it's just like, you can't possibly know that.
It's like, or like knowing, like in Star Wars, you know, and like Star Wars Galaxies, all the people that were like, knew every single thing about everything Jedi, even though like all the history had been wiped from the map.
Of the Jedi had been dead like 40 years. Yeah.
And the Emperor had gone, he'd gone full North Korea on it and like completely, he literally undid all their knowledge, all their lore. He removed anything positive from archives across the galaxy. That was a big project on his. So all these people that, the older ones, they would, they remember that stuff. You still had that, but people were afraid to talk about it because of the Empire.
Yeah.
But, it's
but
the
somehow
same thing.
People knew anyway.
Right. They're like, I have a lost Jedi archive in my basement. Yeah, I bet you have a lot of things in your basement, Robo Doll Boy.
My father served with Ayla Secura, and there's rumors she's still alive. Like, get out of here, dude. You don't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, your dad's a clone trooper, and while some of those clones went on to have other children, I don't know if all of them could.
Yeah, well, some of them were. Yeah, it's that kind of. That's metagaming
it's a derp fest. Yeah, it's a metagame derp fest.
And so with that in mind, there are typically two types of people that participate in god modding or metagaming. One of them is those who do it on accident because they're new to RP and they don't know any better. They're still learning the ropes. Or they've come from one of those other games where they role played in where. Like the fastest typer is and the first to get it out is the winner. Most people like this, when they learn that's not how it works in an MMO, they'll stop once they're told how that stuff actually works. I know there's a lot of the kids and stuff that they're coming up from role playing in Minecraft and all those Roblox and all, Wizard 101 and things like that. I remember one of my very first things long time ago was a Dragon Ball Z chat, like a chat thing. And basically their roleplay rules were if you type it first, you get the hit. Like, so basically whoever typed the fastest, that was that, And it was just a nonstop type fest. And I know that stuff still happens out there. I know there's still people that, will do that kind of stuff. And
it's also, too, a lot of the younger kids assume that, like, Morrowind and the games that they've played have happened linearly. Mm-hmm. So they think that because this game is last, all that other stuff has already happened. They don't understand that it's a timeline and it's jumped around.
Yeah, or like how, EverQuest was... it was one thing. EverQuest 2 was, 500 years later. And then Adventures of EverQuest that was on, like, PS2 was 500 years before the first EverQuest. It was a prequel. It's a little convoluted. But, it's just a lot to, there's a lot of different ways that a lot of people come from different roleplay games, that it just doesn't translate into the way... like a D&D stuff. A lot of it does translate over into the way we role play in MMOs, but not all of it. Like, what was it you, Jazz, that made a character? You said you made a character that was based largely on D&D stuff, and then you're like, oh, these don't exist.
Yeah, I made D&D. Okay. Baka was originally a D&D character. I mean, I made it on a D&D sheet, and then I ended up rolling Toyana. And then eventually I brought Baka in after I learned the lore a little bit. And even then I was still wrong. And I had to go in and make tweaks to her. Because I didn't know anything about the lore. And as I did quests, I learned. Mm-hmm. And I read and I learned. And then I would have to change a little bit here and there. Because my lore didn't match up.
Yeah.
And I get it. People are fans of the stuff, right? They just want to include themselves. But the fatal trap is using that forbidden knowledge when your character would have no idea about it.
Yeah, all right, let me go to the second one.
I'm 5,000 years old, so that's okay.
Yeah, let me go to the second type, and I'll ask my question that I always never sure where the line is drawn at. The other type are those that do it on purpose. knowingly or not. Either way, they don't have the mental capacity to either separate the knowledge that they get OOC, or they do it purposely to ensure that their character is the Mary Sue they see in their head. To be honest with me, either way, the results are the same. Whether they're doing it on accident, knowingly or not, that the fact that they constantly keep doing it makes no difference to me. I mean,
yeah, once you learn, then you need to stop.
Right. If you do it, if you do it once, or there's a slip up and it's once in a blue moon. I mean, we've all. I don't think there's a one of us here that haven't probably done it in one way, shape, or another. At least it, accident, or it's a simple slip up like, oh shit, I forgot I read that. I didn't actually talk to you about that, did I? It happens,
we've all done that.
Yeah. So here's my question, because it's one thing I never know quite how to do. If there is something that it would be possible for your character to know, how far is it that you can go to make up a plausible way and time frame for your character to maybe find out with that? Or does it just depend on who you're role-playing with? Like at Jazz, you and I, we've done that before. Like our characters haven't necessarily talked about something, but so a certain amount of time passes and then, one or the other will come to it. It's like, I heard through my sources that so and so and so is happening. And, and I don't know if that's a thing just because it's us that we just let it slide.
Part of it was us, and part of it was there were times when, I originally was a purist, and I didn't use sources, quote unquote, unless I really had them. And the scary part is people were telling me all kinds of stuff, and I had an amazing amount of people actually were just yammering, and I was listening, and, my character was sitting on top of a wall while they were making out at the bottom of the wall talking about stuff they shouldn't. And, I had got that information. And so or I had people send me notes and say, you should know this. So, there was a lot of times that was true. There is sometimes if you know the person and you ask ahead of time, or if you think it's okay, you can just guess if you know them really well. I think we did that a couple of times.
Yeah, we've done that plenty.
Both ways.
Yeah.
Where it's been a while, it's plausible that they might have heard about it somehow.
Yes, it's one of those.
Or I would say to you, is there any possible way that sneaky-ass Baka would have figured this out by now?
Well, and in certain cases, you could be like, like if it's like the guild hall we had in EverQuest 2, it had servants, things like that. It's perfectly reasonable that, like, maybe they overheard something or things like that. But that's what I'm saying is, like, where does that begin and end?
Well, you can misuse that.
It can be misused, but it could also be
people were always nervous
reasonable.
Because, like, in our guild hall, people were told from the get-go the Vodka had little listening notes everywhere, both visual and auditory.
Yeah, a lot of people hated that for sure.
And they hated it, but here's the deal. I couldn't possibly know something you didn't tell me.
Exactly. So
people were like, that's Godmodding. I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm not omnipotent, you guys. Half the time I'm not even here. The only way I'm going to know is if you use it as an RP tool. And you tell me this happened in the guild hall, Vodka would probably have seen it. Because you want me to include your RP in my RP.
I think
that's the only way it's going to work.
If you have a good group of friends and you go to your group officer corps, things may happen and it may be a while, and they may share them with each other. Or if you, like Jazz said, if you're a good group of friends and it's been a while, sometimes the guild leader will say, hey, you guys probably already know about this, and then they'll lay it out OOC-ly. Then you can apply it to your roleplay.
Yeah.
But otherwise, just knowing stuff before you know it is kind of a dirtbag move.
Right. Mm-hmm. You have to ask, you have to check, you have to know the people that you're doing it with really well, or it's office Godmodding.
Just do the legwork. My character was Jazz's, like, agent. Like, he would sneak around and go listen, drop eaves, hang out with people, get information, gather it up. Then he would write a report every week and say, this is what's going on in this direction, that direction. And people would wonder how they found it out. And she said, I have eyes and ears everywhere.
Yeah.
So go, no, you're Godmodding. Like, no.
You told me character.
I wasn't dropping no eaves.
I wasn't dropping no eaves, exactly. Ren was dropping some eaves a few times.
Samwise was dropping some eaves too.
No.
But we always made sure that people understood, if you're doing anything in the guild hall, you need to understand there's a good chance of you getting caught, even if you don't want me to know.
Yeah.
simply because Ren is skulking around. You should see this guy. He would hide like invis and sit on top of the fireplace. So if you weren't directly looking for him and you didn't have names turned on, because a lot of us didn't, you wouldn't have seen
even
him.
if you didn't see invisible, the names, it would disappear too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Xanus always had invisibility potions.
Yeah.
That's right.
So the Triton would do that because he knew Vodka, as he said, they were like, what are you doing? I'm taking this potion. Why? Because I work for a sneaky harpy. And
that's right.
I know she's watching, and I'm going to make sure if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to get caught.
But even outside the guild hall, people they weren't watching what they were saying. And if you're walking around and you're just kind of blending in, you can hear all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, every now and then I would have something super secret that people would find out, and I'd be like, okay, before I freak out and call you a godmodder, tell me how your character found out about this. Now, 9 times out of 10, they were like, well, I read it in your journal.
Right.
Okay.
No.
You don't get to know that. No, she snuck into your... No, or you'd be dead because it's poisoned and it says so in the front of it. So if you didn't... You're dead if you touched it. Try again. But if they were like, well, I was talking to this person who said that this person knew this person and who said that Vodka was here doing this.
Yeah, they can take you through the game of telephone.
Right. And I'd be like, son of a... I didn't see that one coming. Okay, you get that. That's free.
Yep. Yeah, and that's really the best way to do it. Is to find anything to any character, and a lot of times people are more than it's role play. If everyone was as tight-lipped as like you're supposed to be in situations and things like that, like you're the CIA or the KGB, it would be pretty boring role play. So you gotta have you gotta have that stuff. All right, so we'll try. Let's try a little a fun little game here as examples of god modding. All right, who wants to be the god modder? Okay, stop that.
I'll do it.
I'm gonna mute you. I can do that, Aww. That's right. Okay, Sibh'Bae, you said you want to be the god modder?
Yes, sir.
All right, who wants to be the reasonable person that's not a complete douchebag?
I will.
I don't want to be a douchebag.
Well, you're a godmodder. You have to be a douchebag. You're basically a Chad.
I know.
You volunteered for this.
That face.
All right, was that Jazz or Sib that just spoke up? I couldn't.
I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so, all right. Let's set up a scenario here. All right, Jazz, you're a chick.
Okay.
Can you pass that off?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I can do that.
All right. Sibh'Bae, you are a assassin of the night, one of the stalkers in the dark, the people that aren't really people. Jazz, you're just a nice person that isn't a moron. By Sibh'Bae, you really got the short end of the stick on this one.
I did.
All right, so
indeed.
The two of you meet in a tavern. Sibh'Bae, obviously, you're holding up a wall.
Obviously.
When Jazz throws out an insulting remark about assassins, what do you do?
Well, that's just uncalled for. You should fear us. We take you out at any time, because that's what we do. And there's nothing you can do about it, darling.
I wasn't talking about you. Goodness, sir.
I'm the knight. Silence. You will obey and listen to what I say.
But how could you possibly know I was talking about you?
Because I've trained my ears over the many years of training to hear all. I can hear a pin drop in the other side of the room and know the
I've had
decimal of
this
it.
conversation with someone like this. Have you been in my head?
No, but you need to get out of mine. Put God mod in my brain, Jazz.
So, what was the first mistake? I don't know, maybe the part where she's just talking about random assassins and how horrible they are, and he's like, hey, look at me over here, I'm an assassin!
That's the first clue.
That is the first clue that something's not right.
You're an assassin? You don't want people knowing you're an assassin.
Yeah.
And, oh my god, okay. Rant moment. I have been playing Scouts and Assassins for most of my MMORP history. And if there's anything that sets me off more, are all of these people who wander in and go, "Hi, I'm an assassin. You want me to kill someone for you?" Now, like, you know, when Ciel was really angry one night, she said she was going to kill him. And then a couple of weeks later, this guy was like, "Well, you're an assassin." And she was like, "No, I'm not."
No, Jazz. I kill people for money. So look how cool I am. Hang on.
Yeah.
I got to adjust my shoulder while I hold this wall up. Yeah. Let me cross my arms here.
Hold on.
I'm the best.
My hood slipped a little bit. Let me pull
Oh,
it down
did.
over my eyes so I have a deep shadow.
Yes. You got to keep it real, brother.
Yeah. See, now the other the continuation of this one is that it escalates further, and he just stabs her in the throat without attempting anything. Yeah. And kills her and lets her bleed out while looking down smirkily.
That's right.
I've had this conversation.
That's how it always goes.
That's how it goes.
Yes, it's really weird. It's like they all read from the same script.
And by the way, after I'm watching her bleed out, I think sexual thoughts about every woman in the room and walk out slow.
Because they're all
Wow.
looking at your...
You just chatted out majorly.
They're all looking
Dude.
at your tight, leather-clad buttocks.
Here, Johanna said, also, the correct answer to what do you do is I teleport behind her, stab her 1,000 times, use a smoke bomb, teleport back to my spot, and completely unfazed, and it's impossible to figure out it was me.
I know, right?
Oh my goodness, I've seen that.
Believe
They all
it!
read from the same script. I don't understand where it's... I mean, it's got to be coming from, like, I'm assuming TV shows and stuff that people watch.
There's that... I'm going to go largely with anime.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I
Yeah,
can see that.
anime.
I agree with that.
There's a lot of...
Because that's got to be where it's
I've-
coming from. It's too scripted. It's amazing. They
Yeah.
all use the same script when they first start
Well,
out.
and I've pulled a lot of stuff from anime. Like a lot of the stuff I did on Xanus was based in the way the Naruto world worked, because it was all chakra based and it was things like that. But
Yes.
you know, it was just a really convenient pre-done way of explaining how, you know, he was able to do some of the things that he did. It was all inner chakra and things like that. But I stopped at the part where he was summoning giant frogs the size of a 15-story building and, you know, things like that. But like an electric hand or something like that. I'm not even talking like Goku levels, just like the you know, a shocking hand or flaming fists and things like that. The stuff that, you know, you see in those typical... I use that all the time, but mostly as a way of explaining it because it was a really good way to explain it.
Well, thank God you didn't go the whole Sosuke route.
Yeah, have
I'm
snakes
the
all
most
over
evil
me.
guy ever. Look at my older evil brother.
I know
We're
everybody
all
around me
this
is
anime.
super nice and friendly to me, but I'm gonna be a dick because I need to see your manager haircut says so.
Yeah. For real though.
Right? Yeah. That was a good anime, though. I really did enjoy it. But that's...
I like Piccolo and Dragon Ball Z, but
Oh,
he
yeah.
kind of edgelorded up too.
Well,
But
yeah,
that really has got to be where it comes from.
if you see
It's
Dragon
just
Ball
phenomenal.
Super, it's totally blown when Pan comes into the picture.
Oh gosh.
He babysits Pan a lot, and like there was one time they were gonna have Goku do it. He's like, she really likes her rattle. You can't put her to sleep without giving her rattle in her bottle first. It's like, oh my god, he's completely homogenized now, but it was still hysterical. But yeah, Jazz, that's where a lot of that stuff comes from. So all right, so let's go with another scenario. I'll take the metagamer. Sib, you want to be the nice normal person that's not a complete dickhole?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So we'll set up. It's a similar thing, but our characters are they just sat down and they're just talking. So and then all of a sudden, I could see that you're real interested in me, and which isn't surprising given the fact that... Hold on. Yes, you were hurt in the past by a former lover that was killed by your sister's brother's cousin's former roommate. Yes, I can see it all too clearly due to my inner eye.
No.
That's how I would be like,
Yes, yes, I can see. You find halflings secretly sexy, which is great because... Reveal! I am too a halfling.
oh, heavens help me.
But not just any halfling. They call me by my other name.
The Hobbit sausage.
Tripod.
You were close.
I was close.
Excuse me. I'll be back here and just never.
I know all these things because of my inner eye.
Would run away quickly.
It ain't the only inner eye I'm wanting to use
Slash
tonight.
E,
Wink.
Runs
Oh,
away
jeez.
fast.
Remember there was a guy in EverQuest 2 that his right eye would flare. Remember that?
Oh my god, I had completely forgotten about him.
And the reason
Constantly.
right, and you know why? Did you ever find out why it was that red eye flared all the time? That was his like signature thing?
I think somebody finally told me and I laughed for about a half hour.
Okay,
But
well,
I don't remember
Here's
exactly.
what it was that every time his red eye flared, with fire, obviously. I mean, it's not like he just went like with one eye like, and like arched it up like Spock. It obviously flared with fire because why else wouldn't it? But
I thought he had like an infection in it.
It's got pink eye in one eye. And it just doesn't. One's shut all the time, and the other one's like, I'm doing a lot of work over here.
My eye, it's always on fire, Doc.
But
That would be pink eye, son.
they got drops for that. I actually think Xanis said that to him once. He's like, his red eye flared, and I think Xanis says, you know, they have drops for that.
I remember an officer chat. This is before, for all you young kids, this is before we had anything but Vent. And most people didn't use it except for ratings. So we all typed everything. But I remember us
Back in
having
my
this
day.
conversation of, oh my God, it's flaring again. Somebody shoot me. I can't take it anymore.
Yes.
Pepperidge Farm remembers when the eye
Pepperidge
flared.
Farm remembers. So the reason, Jazz, that did that was every time in EverQuest 2, you could inspect players and see their thing and see some of their stats and stuff. Every time he inspected somebody, the eye would go off.
Oh, so he was looking at them without clothes or something?
He was looking at their stats and looking.
He was looking at their thing.
Yeah, he's looking at their thing. But no, he was looking at the biographies in EverQuest 2 that you could write and getting the information from that. But the red eye flare was his in-character way of metagaming that.
So that then he would know all that information.
He would know all that information at a glance.
Right. Somehow.
Instead of, yeah, right. That was...
Oh my God, that
guy.
he drove me insane with that red eye flare thing.
But yeah, that's what the red eye was for. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I think I told you that back in the day, but it's only been like
Probably.
10 years. So.
But like I said, I think I laughed about for a half hour because I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, that's really fun.
Excuse me. Okay, so let's see, where were we? So yeah, so that's basically, it's silly, but it's not that far off. Sad. True.
No, it's not.
So how do you prevent these things from happening? To be honest, you can't.
No.
But it's there's no way to stop it from happening because it has to happen before you know they're doing it. But when it does, you have got to call them on it.
Yeah.
And if you're not sure if it, like if it's like on the line, like I think they're metagaming, or godmodding, but I'm not really sure. Godmodding is definitely always a lot easier to find than metagaming. Metagaming is a little more difficult to prove. But you've ask somebody you trust and trust and verify your thoughts with them, and then confront them. Like ask an officer, ask somebody that you trust, a friend,
and always send them a tell if you can, rather
Right.
than winning and say and embarrassing them because they may just be ignorant. Always send them a towel. Now, if they're a total dickweed about it, totally,
Then
that
just
tells you
block
everything you need to know.
Yeah.
But barring
Unfortunately-
that, always just talk to them first.
Fortunately, you're always going to see it because everybody wants to be that bad to the bone character
Mhm.
they saw in some whatever anime, and they want to steal that magic.
Yeah,
from
they
stuff.
want to be John Wick or
wanna be
Neo
John Wick.
or Naruto or Marty McFly.
Hey now,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
nothing wrong with Marty. Come on now.
Get to the chopper. Go
Face him up on
now.
Marty McFly.
Yeah, I know. That's why I did that one.
I
knew
know.
that'd get him. Or John McClane. How's that? That's a good one. You can't be John
That's a
McClane
good
every
one.
single time. But the reason you have to call him on it, like Jazz said, you got to send him a tell. You don't have to do it publicly, but
You can be nice about it because even if
give him
they're
a chance.
Yeah, give them a chance. And even if they are a dickwad about it, nobody else wants to see that drama in their RP. So
No.
try to keep it out of spatial. I see that all the time
Mm-hmm.
with people going, I call bullshit or whatever. And they say it and say because they feel that tells are too personal. But you know what? I don't want to see that in my RP. So have
'cause
that
it
stupid
derails
argument with
everything
someone
around
else,
you.
please. Yeah.
And if they continue on and they just ignore you, then yeah, there are times when you really do. You're just like, all right, you brought this on yourself.
If you really want to be that really scary character, just abide by the rules. Act like you know what's going on and don't metagame. And at some point, people will start taking you serious if you're a good role player.
Yeah, and that's like what we were saying. You have to do it because if you let it stand, it only encourages them to continue. Like Insomniac in the chat saying, don't roleplay with Godmodders or metagamers. They will learn when they have no one to RP with.
Oh yes.
Yes.
And that's basically
They're never
what
going to stop until it
happens.
costs.
Right.
They're
And,
just
as long as people let it's like any. It's maybe not as severe, but like any criminal activity, the more they do it, the more cocky they get. Like, oh, well, I can just do what I want. It's my hot body. I do what I want.
I will say, those people usually have a flock. And it's people that
Is
they
it a
can...
small peepee?
What? No, they have a group of people that they control.
Oh, a flock. I thought you said a flaw. Sorry.
What's a flock?
Yes.
A flaw. And
They
you
have
said
a flock.
A flock.
A flock. They
Right.
usually have a small group of people that they can control, and those are
Some
the
of 'em,
ones
yeah.
that are,
The
There is
ones-
an amazing number of Godmodders who do seem to have a following who accept their bullshit behavior
yeah.
and don't
Yeah.
call them on it.
Yeah.
And honestly, and I'll say this because I'm guilty of it just like everyone else is, I think, to some degree. While, yes, you should call Godmodders on it, there are times when I just don't want to fucking deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm role-playing. My character just thinks they're crazy or stupid or deluded or whatever, and I just keep role-playing. I don't even bother anymore.
That ignore feature works real handy.
Mm-hmm.
The one in my brain works even better. Like in ASO, you
Yo.
can only have 99 people on ignore, by the way. Ask me how I know. So
How many
I've had to
accounts do you
delete
have,
people.
Sibh'Bae?
I'm not at liberty to discuss how many accounts I have.
I had to take people off ignore because I filled up their ignore, and I was really irritated about that. But anyway, the point being is that I found actually it's honestly better just to put people on a mental ignore
Mm-hmm.
than other than like honest to God trolls who end up on
Yeah,
ignore.
they need to be on the real one because they just spam.
Yeah, because they spam and that's stupid. But barring the spammer trolls, I just put them on a mental
It is
ignore
somewhat
and leave it at that.
amusing once you know who they are and what they're doing, just to see like, wow, who's putting up with this?
I have to say on the friends list comment, Jess, I looked at my friends list the other day and I have 35 friends in game. Well, I looked at my ignore list. I have 35 people on ignore. I was like, what are the chances of that?
That purple
That's
works
pretty
on
cool.
I was like, what is wrong with me?
And see, I have 99 people on ignore, currently 97 actually, and I have 96 people as friends. So
Never question why your list is that full, because I was there for some of them when they got banned off your list, like that purple orc,
Oh, yeah.
who
Yeah.
must have been related to a purple Wookiee.
That's right.
Uh-oh.
Dom.
Yeah, Axum Alexius says that they've known a few groups who, I read well. I've known a few groups who the heads of it would godmod, but the moment any of their followers did, they were punished for doing so.
Seen that too.
Boy, that sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar. Yep.
Like I
Skills in
said,
EQ2.
they usually have a flock.
Yeah, but only they're the one that are allowed to be all powerful. and it's
Yes.
a weird, it's a very strange. I don't know. It's a
dynamic.
It's
a
a very
very
cult-like
odd
dynamic. The way they're charming and their personality has to convince people that only they're allowed to do, this.
Well,
this
narcissists
thing.
are like that, and I think there's a lot of narcissists that are godmodders because they must be the best.
Around.
Nothing's ever gonna keep you down.
That's
You're
right.
the best.
Around.
I want to see that.
So let's see. Where were we? I lost my spot. Oh, okay. If they refuse to comply, to not metagame or take back what they said, I heard it from a source. I heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who. Right. See, there's always a friend of a friend, or someone, some other made up bullshit way that they got the secret information that didn't come from an in-character transaction. Often as not, that is when retcons come up as the only option. It's like we said in our last episode about retconning. It's always a last-ditch effort. You want to do everything you can to avoid that, but if they don't take it seriously, that's all you're left with. That's all there is. And it sucks, Sorry, let's keep losing my spot here for some reason.
Because you're no
there we
good
go.
tonight.
So,
we got a Kishmas.
we do have a Kishmas. Hey, what's up,
Kishmas.
He has returned.
Kishmas?
How was that stay in the dungeon, bro?
I am not hearing him.
Kishmas, we can't hear you.
They broke his headset down there.
They've murdered him. All right, well, he's working that out. Does that mean that all I had an informant RP is metagaming? No. Like we were talking about earlier, especially if your guild, you're a guild or your friends, and they all accept that as something that happens. Let's see here. Sorry about that. I got distracted. I accidentally clipped on my security camera. Yeah.
I wonder why I got like super quiet for a minute there.
Yes. So, like I said, no. If the other party accepts it, it's really not a problem. It's not metagaming if the people involved, I guess, do it. But, it's... I don't know. Sorry, I totally just lost my train of thought.
I think we're trying. I mean, if you're in a group of people, like we would have, for example, Xanis would roll a bad guy, and we would have an agreement that he could god mod to some degree because his character was super duper bad guy.
Right.
So he was going to have some I have the power kind of a thing going on there, and he was supposed to. And
it was
invariably,
supposed to be one character versus a guild full of really strong.
Yeah.
people.
right, he's going to have the whole guild after him, so he needs to be a bit awesome. So we had a lot of people saying it's not fair. Why does he be able to do this? It's god modding, and it's like he is an ultra bad guy who's going to be gone soon. We get to kill him.
Yeah, it was a temporary thing.
Right, but it's a temporary thing. He's a good friend.
And it wasn't my character. It was
Right,
I was using my character as an avatar.
They're like, well, he's just a level 1. How can he have all this power? First of all, level doesn't matter. Second of all, he's an officer rolling an alt for us to fight.
Yeah, it's an NPC fight.
And
Right,
third of
so
all,
it's okay.
the boss said he could be Skeletor for the night, so shut up.
Yeah, you guys, it's that or everyone goes back to drinking at the bar.
And that's how come, as the guild leader, I was the one that people came to sometimes. But sometimes they go to the officers because it was the opposite situation.
And they would hear what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, and like I said, the informant stuff and things like that. It is situational. And
there's
no,
another
Kishmas,
thing I
we
want to
can't
bring
hear
up
you for
when you
some
get-
reason.
What?
Oh, Kishmas is asking if we could hear him. And
Oh, no, we
can't.
can't hear anything.
No, sorry, bud. We'll just keep talking till you get it figured out. I don't know what's going on your end. Make sure your mic is set to default, because that always seems to redo itself.
Yes, it does itself all the time. It keeps resetting my stuff. I have to go in and change it.
And with Godmodding, it's basically much the same thing. You have to inform them. Most people will understand, and if they don't, basically you kind of have to walk away. And as a joke, I've actually handled this 2 separate ways. One was someone saying they punched my character in the throat, like randomly or just smarmy, with a simple reply of no. I just walked away, and that was as Yudfei reminded me of that story the other week. It's just like, no, I don't know who you are. You came up, you punch his character, punches Xanis in the throat. It's like, no.
It's one thing if it's your guildies and you do that, and then you get to roll, or you just allow it to happen because you role players in your same guild. It's quite another when some random dude in the bar just comes up and tries to hit you or whatever.
Yeah, and the other one was someone flipping Xanis in the forehead with a finger, the little finger flick. Didn't have any reason to really do it, so it's like, all right. So I returned the favor by Godmodding back, because I was being in a shitty mood, and I didn't really feel like putting up with it, that I just grabbing this finger and twisting it until it snaps.
Nice.
Yes.
And then, of course, I got the instant following, you can't do that, came and replied, it's like, you're right, and neither can you. Because it don't get me wrong, this isn't like some random person. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Poop. This was, I don't remember them exactly. I'm terrible with names, but it was a person that I had seen Godmodding constantly, and frankly, I was just bored and tired of putting up with it. So
you get to that apathy stage where you just
yeah.
get tired
So I was just like, all right, well, being nice isn't working, and trying to be patient with it, or playing along like steps away, steps back, and things like that. So I was like, all right, well, let's just do what you do. See how you see if that hits home the part where you shouldn't be doing these kinds of things. And
I
left me alone after
people,
that.
Yeah, I've had people who pat my character on the head and stuff like that. Cial in particular, because she's short. And it's a pet peeve of hers. And I'd ask people, I'd really appreciate a heads up before you do something like that, because Cial's going to respond, and you may not like how she responds.
But she's so cute, Jazz.
So I had one of these guys in the bar in Riften do it again after I had talked to him about it, and he did it again. And so I was like, okay. So she snatched her hand up there like you did and grabbed his finger and twisted it back. Now this guy actually went along with it.
Yeah.
She broke his finger, and he never patted her on the head again. And he sent me a tell and said, okay, you're right. That was Godmodding. I'm sorry. And he realized that it was the same. I didn't have to explain it to him.
Right.
Once he saw my reaction versus his reaction, and that he couldn't really argue with it because he'd done the same thing to me, he rolled with it, and he had a broken finger. So
yeah,
I didn't get mad at him because I realized he was the first kind. Didn't really know any better.
Didn't really get it, yeah. He at least he knew the phrasing. He just like, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And when, here's another thing too. When is, like doing small gestures and things like that is different, than, like somebody, like if, like I do it all the time with Tarvala. I don't necessarily attempt it, but like I'll shoulder bump people or pat them on the shoulder, things like that, when it's innocent, not when it's not like aggressive, because typically people aren't gonna, they're not gonna be like dodges away from the reassuring pat on the shoulder.
And you're in the same guild, no less, so, it's, I don't think that's the end of the world. I think it's just being your character.
Yeah, go ahead and just ignore them, babe.
I am.
Sorry.
Are we okay?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, there we go. There we go. Just ban them. We've got some people trying to get on the show, but that's what we got call screeners for.
Yeah. Rahana had a call from Uniface,
Yeah.
so I had to take it.
Oh yeah.
But it was. I'll talk to you guys after the show.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Roger that.
Yeah. Sorry, trolls. You don't get through here anymore. It's just not going to happen anymore.
Shall not pass.
No.
No.
Yeah. One of the things that I did want to mention when it comes to this is, as a guild leader, we see this a lot, where people are shouting godmodding or metagaming, and it really isn't. I've had to deal with this often, and anybody that's listening, please listen to this part.
No.
Fair.
Hey, there's
guild leader. Hey, Roger.
I just had to restart Discord because I changed Windows settings because I actually had to refresh my PC. But yeah,
Cool.
I just got one question.
Resident 22-year-old or 21-year-old.
yes,
I just got one question, Kishmas.
no,
Hippity hoppity. Are
I'm going-
Argonians still Dunmer property?
forever.
My man.
All right. So, Jazz, what was the point you were getting at there?
Okay, the point I was getting at is that when you have different groups of people, they view permission very different. Everybody views permission a little differently. So before you shout godmodding, talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I had a situation recently, and I'm sure this is going to make Grangots groan. Because Strafe knows that this was something that we dealt with as officers, and you too, Xanis, for that matter, where some people expect that if you look at their character, if you involve their character in any way, you have to ask first.
Gosh.
And then you have people who are totally okay with simple things like throwing something at their character from a distance, giving them a chance to react, that sort of thing, but you don't have to ask permission to do those things.
Right.
And then you have people who don't have a problem with you completely just walking up and doing whatever, and they'll just decide if you hit them or not.
Oh, yeah.
And this wide range of acceptable permissions is why drama happens. And I had to deal with that, where somebody's like, well, you shouldn't have involved my character in this situation without asking me first. And I was like, okay, nobody's going to do that.
Yeah.
In a big situation. They're not going to say, okay, I've got this story arc, you're standing next to me, so I'm going to kind of include you. You don't want to do it, walk the hell away.
You walk away.
You don't have to get permission first. So, but...
Yeah, that's like getting permission to, like, turn to somebody and say, hello. It's like, hey, is
Right.
it all right if I
And they're
say
like-
hi to you? No. Nobody's
Yeah,
doing
and
that.
there are people who have asked me, can I say hi to your character? Seriously?
Like,
I'm in a
just-
bar. I'm in a
yeah.
public place. Yes. And
Yeah.
that same thing goes with these people who've been so traumatized by people who expect to be asked about everything that they won't even join an RP in an open public setting. Mostly because there's these people who will come to an open public setting, start a big thing with a group of people they've already prearranged for this to happen to, and then get furious with you and scream godmodding and metagaming if you try to join in. This is a private RP.
Yeah,
well, then go to a private place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had one. I actually had something like that happen when, early on in the Old Republic.
Yes.
On Narshada, there were two guys. They were like, I don't remember if they were fighting with lightsabers, but there was a heated argument, and had come to blows, and they're role playing it out, and my character, I was like, oh cool, and I was like, sitting there, and I get these angry messages from them like, this is a private role play. It's like, well, then maybe you shouldn't do it on a public street, like in the middle of everything. Like, it was literally on the pathway to in Narshada, if you remember, from the taxi service straight to the
Yes.
bar that was there.
Yeah.
It was on one of
I ran
those
into
walkways.
a lot of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're
People
like, no,
would
we're in a
have
back
private
alley.
RP.
Like,
Yeah.
no, you're not. You're like right here in the middle of everything. There's a lot of places in Narshada that you can go to do that stuff. You're just, but if you're going to do it right here in the public, then I was like, don't be mad when people come up to you and they try to interact with your guys' role play when you're doing it out in the open. It's like, well, this is private.
This is private. It's not really happening here.
Yeah. It's like,
Well, then go to like some backwater place that has a similar looking place and do it there.
Yeah.
Don't do it here in like 2 feet from the largest RP center in the entire
Yeah,
game.
it'd be like someone in ESO, for example, like having a fight right outside of Riften, and when people come to look, they're like, we're not actually in Riften.
That's happened actually recently. I
My
had to deal with
immersion.
that.
It's like, well, you're outside
they
Riften, so
they came in as hunters and wanted to arrest everybody who wasn't mortal, and demanded that they be able to give blood tests to everybody. And it looked like they were expecting everybody to comply. So, of course, people got belligerent and angry. And they're like, we're not talking to you. We're just talking to these 3 people at the bar. You're not really here.
Gee, that sounds familiar. Going back to EQ2.
Yeah, and we always had to deal with that from time to time. And those people will claim that you godmodded your way into their RP.
Yeah. It's like, no, you're like literally out in public. We're not godmodding. You're, if anything, you're doing that because you're like, hey, nobody else exists. Well,
yeah.
Okay, Thanos, but snap your fingers again. But well, and that's one thing I've said about with you, Kishmas, too. Like even as long as you and Nathala have been together and been friends, and your characters have been together, you still attempt everything.
You have to.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't, that's god modding.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I let it slip a little because...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like with her, like, when you put your arm around her, you kiss her on the head. Really, as long as you guys to get together, there's never going to really be an instance, unless, of course, you've done something bad and she's holding out on you now.
Yeah.
That she's going to be like, no. So
touch me.
You could get away with that, but even after all this time, like Jazz and I and Sib and I, when we ever our characters do stuff like that, I don't attempt anything. It just is what it is, And you could do that too, I'm sure, but even still, you always keep it at,
But yeah, when we're in a public place like Riften, you still attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So
you know why he does that?
He's a classy guy.
He's a gentleman.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
You just do it yourself, man.
Pussy whipped.
Oh my god.
Hey, I don't mind that.
Didn't figure that was gonna be a
Fap slap.
Oh no.
And often too with the god modding, it's god modding is actually always a lot easier to retcon and move on from if the person doesn't stop being a turd head, because often as not, the god modding is typically just some kind of combat or like a very in the moment situational thing, that doesn't really have a whole lot of meaning, or it doesn't really have any lasting implications, with metagaming, that one can be a lot harder, because if it's been going on for a while and then the metagaming starts to become apparent, or rears its ugly little head, then like we said with the retcon episode, that's when it becomes a lot more complicated, because how far back do you really want to do this if that ends up being the reason, the only reason you have. Hey, would you two knock it off? Our dogs are fighting. Like play fighting.
They're wrestling.
They're wrestling. Turd heads. So yeah, that's you never want to retcon, like we said, but sometimes you just have to. Like I said earlier too, even seasoned RPers can slip up and do it. There's a thing called Hanlon's razor. There's a lot of razors. Occam's razor, Schick razors. Things like that.
There's also things saying, apologizing and saying, yeah, let me attempt that one more time.
Yeah. It's
you
super
can just
easy.
say you're sorry and try again, and
Or-
there's no reason
Or
you can't.
if it came out like a lot of my stuff, it doesn't sound like like I don't I'll just put I'll put, it's subtle, like I'll put, instead of like attempts to, I'll just put slices for their midsection, which is still an attempt. It's not like or slices at their midsection. It's not. I never emote like the actual hit. It's just an implied attempt. And I've had people like, well, did you attempt that? I'm like, well, yeah. I said I'm trying for your midsection. I'm sorry I didn't use the word attempt every single time, but
sadly,
grammatically it gets boring using that over and over.
Yeah.
People get upset because they don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
I do the same thing, Xanis, but I've added attempt in there just because people get unclear.
I just
like we
not
did the
willing
RP
to-
duel, and it said pulls his mace or slams his mace down towards or attempts to go slice at the middle of his arm.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
I just
sometimes they don't get it. So
I refuse to bow down to the lowest common denominator of stupidity in our society.
ah man, good stuff.
But no, there's a thing called Hanlon's razor, which probably a lot of people have heard, even if you don't know the phrase. It means never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. And, even longtime RPers can have, we can have our, moments either, maybe we're tired, we've got families, maybe maybe we've had one too many.
Well, midnight.
It's after midnight, and you're all going to turn into gremlins if you keep role-playing and cause trouble for Xanis in the morning, or Ashen Phoenix in the morning.
Something you want to share with us there, bro? God, he's gone full Joker.
But and it does happen. We all do it once in a blue moon. It's an accident. It doesn't make doing it on accident every now and then for you slipped up, you lost your train of thought. Trust me, it happens to me. Listen to 15 minutes ago. It doesn't make you a metagamer or a Godmodder. Doing it constantly and continually despite all the warnings and people trying to help you out and be like, hey, dude, you keep doing the same thing over and over. You're Godmodding. You're getting information, or you're not attempting to do things. You can't, I remember little Ratanga that, right off the bat, I don't know, Jazz, you might have been there, that just came up and, stabbed my character in the foot and made it bleed, and, pinned him to the floor. I'm like, no, you didn't. It's
yeah.
You don't get to do that. That's not how this works. None of this is how it works.
You got the wrong guy.
But yeah, so, it's never, like I said, never, I try, and it's really easy, because I don't know why. We always think the worst of everybody around us, and really, there are a handful of people, and, like Sibh'Bae's Psycho and others like that, it is actually attributed to malice and want of power and more of this or more of that. But for the most part, most people, it's just because they're butt-ass stupid.
I agree.
It's not, they just want to be the coolest person ever and this and that, and they're just too dumb to realize how idiotic it kind of is at times.
Clownish they look.
Yeah, So, but yeah, so that's metagaming and godmodding. Anybody else have any final thoughts or anything like that before we?
For me, it's hard to RP as a spy because you have to go into the factor that, so-and-so told me this, and so-and-so told me that you're doing this, and I'm going to arrest you. And then the person who's being arrested will be like, well, let me ask him first. And if he asks the person who told the spy that they did something illegal, and he doesn't want them to know, he'd probably be like, oh, no, I didn't say anything. So then that person will claim the spy is metagaming, if you trying to catch what I'm trying to say. So it's kind of hard, to RP that, but it can easily be solved by just communication.
Yeah.
But being a spy, you don't want to communicate, openly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've played a spy a lot, and I've worked with spy groups and stuff like that, and we do tell people, if you're honestly going to be taking someone down, you do need to talk to them and ask them and give them a heads up. But if all you're doing is following somebody around and listening to the words that are coming out of their mouth icily, and you're going to respect that if they're whispering, you probably can't hear, et cetera, and you have that caveat in place for the people that you're working with to understand that, then it's a lot easier to be a spy. But you do have to have that understanding. And when I would get in-game mails from people with vodka, and they would say, this is true, I wouldn't just say, okay.
Right.
Because you can't do that. So then I would ask around, not necessarily go to the person it's about, because that could start drama in and of itself.
Well, how did you find out?
Oh, by the way, are you doing this? What? How did you find out? Yeah, just does not end
Oh,
well.
so-and-so told me. Ooh, that
yeah.
son of a bitch. Yeah, you can't do
Yeah,
that.
so I can't do that. But I would, in a roundabout way, ask around and see if I could vet the information in the other way. Or if I got the same thing from 3 people who didn't know each other, there's a pretty good chance it's probably true in some sense, and I would use it.
Heard it from a friend who...
Yeah.
Heard
So,
it from a friend who...
but it's one of those sticky things that you have to be really careful because, again, people's idea of okay is different, and you don't want to god mod information that you couldn't possibly know, and you can't take information from somebody that may have god modded it. So you do have to be really careful in the spy business not to god mod the information, and
Take
when
it all
comes
at face
down,
value.
Yeah, you
Stop being
can't
so
take
good at it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Stop being so good at it. That makes it look like metagaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got accused of that a lot, and it really wasn't my fault. It's I would just sit in a bar and take notes.
Again, what you can do to thwart it is take screenshots.
Screenshots
Well, yes.
are your friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we did that a lot when I had information that I thought could be potentially very, very bad. I would take a screenshot of it so that I couldn't be said that I didn't hear this information. And I had so many screenshots.
And you got to do it's sad nowadays too, because you actually have to do screenshots for that stuff, because a lot of people, you can't always trust the logs, because logs can be, it's Notepad. It's not hard to edit in, what you want.
Yeah, exactly. You can put in whatever you want. And I was so innocent in the sense that I was like, but I have logs.
Yeah. Well, it can be done with pictures too. But most
it's
people
almost impossible
aren't
unless
really
you're really
willing
good.
to do the amount of work it makes to not look, It's like those pictures you see on the internet where somebody's like, yeah, I'm totally jacked, and like, what was a gal, and she's like, man, the workout really made my booty look good. And it's like, did the workout really make your door distort around your butt too? Because they had just like used the fisheye thing to make their butt bigger, but it distorted everything in the photo. It's like that. You can't really, it's like, did you not think people would notice that your door frame is like circular now? Is that not?
Yeah, or when they would, this was a thing that happened, you might remember it, toward the end of our stay in E2. We had books that you could actually write in.
Yeah.
And somebody had passed around this book stating, or supposedly, there were there were photo pictures of it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Of the book. And them saying, see, I'm not making this up, I really got this book, right? But they neglected to Photoshop out the edit button.
Yeah.
And I pointed it out. I was like, okay, so this book is not your book. No, you didn't make this book. No, I'm telling you, I received it anonymously. Really, because you're looking at the book, right? Right. And it says edit on it. Which that means you wrote it, genius.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And then another one about 6 weeks later happened again, and this time they edited it out, but you could see the line all the way across.
Right, you could see the where the parchment, like that parchment
where the edit
texture,
button was.
yeah,
you could
the
see
parchment
line.
texture didn't match quite
yeah,
right.
It was like, dude, I'm an art major, and we learned how to do this like our third semester.
Art major aside, I'm a person with eyes.
They pwn themselves, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
It's like the people that send themselves the, like we have had here, like I said, with the death threats from themselves. It's like you're not as smart as you think you are.
Isn't that technically suicide? Like,
if you threaten to kill yourself, is that you probably should be checked out. You're threatening suicide.
Or like the guy that there was some racial stuff that was printed on the side of a pickup, and he was taking pictures of it, right? And saying, look what has been done. And you could see when he's standing there, he's holding out the camera and he's pointing to the words, and there's black marks on the tips of his fingers.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And I saw that, and I pointed it out to a friend of mine, and he paused it and made it bigger and was like, you're right. He was the one that did it because it's on it. And like a couple of weeks later, they had a thing on the news that said that they proved that he had done it to himself. And, but those of us who know this stuff are like, look at his fingers. He spray painted it.
You're already doing the Decker zoom in, enhance, Zoom in,
God.
enhance. Yeah, it looks like there's definitely black paint on his fingers.
They're out there,
nice
boys
try,
and girls.
Oh
guys.
yeah, you can't. Yeah, don't. There's enough problems in the world, people. Don't make up new
create
ones.
them.
Don't make ones. And honestly, because all you're doing, you're making a problem for yourself. You're just gonna make it worse.
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
all right. Well, with that, I think that gives us about everything we need to know on metagaming. We'll never need to touch this subject ever again. It will never come up, and
again,
it'll never happen.
hopefully,
Right.
because it's so rare.
It never happens, almost ever.
I know, it's so
I'm
rare.
going to get up and walk away right
It's
now.
only like a 9 out of 10 chance. Like I've said, if you haven't ran into it yet, count yourself lucky, but honestly, it's going to happen. And if it never does happen, you might want to look at yourself.
That's right.
You know, if 9 out of 10 doctors approve, maybe you're the other one that doesn't know how, like, science works. Just saying.
You need to go find Bill Nye.
No, I said science, not some guy with an engineering degree that has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. You want to know something? You want to know a real fun fact about who's more of a scientist? The guy that played Khal Drago in Rocky,
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren, he has more degrees in science than Bill Nye does. He's more of a scientist than Bill Nye.
And he will break you.
And he will break you. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Creed 2. Them bringing back Drago's kid.
Are they?
Yeah.
I gotta see Creed 1. Man.
Yeah, I need to see it too. I wanted to see the first one, and especially now after having seen Black Panther, because was Killmonger's the same. It's the same guy that plays Creed's son. So having Creed's kid go against Drago's kid I'm looking forward to that. So I'm gonna have to watch Creed. I have to.
He is the mini. He will break you.
He'll break you. I'm strong like 10 Russian women. No, I'm not going to exit this one in the Russian accent this time. So,
I do want to say something real quick. Me and Ashen were discussing episodes earlier today, and we thought about throwing out maybe doing like a Q&A session. Or what did you call it?
An AMA, Ask Me Anything.
Ask Me Anything. So if you, the listeners, would like to hear us answer questions of some sort.
Pretty much anything would go.
Yeah, but we need feedback if we're going to do this, because we would have to have questions.
Yeah.
But I'm just going to throw that out there and let you.
Yeah, and we'll probably throw it out there. We'll gather them up. So when we can do that, we also haven't talked to the rest of everybody to make sure that they're okay with any question that might come their way. But for the most part, I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. It's not going to be like, when did you lose your virginity? And what was the music playing?
Well, I was born.
You touch my ta-la-la.
I would have to say, I was born a young, poor troll and grob.
Yeah. Back in Lower Gook.
But no, I was just going to kind of throw that one out there so our peeps can think on it.
Yeah, if there's anything, I think it'd be fun to do an AMA kind of a thing, just on our experiences or anything in our lives. It doesn't matter to me if you want to ask real life stuff as well.
I know the AMA thing sounds like an Ultimate Warrior kind of thing.
It does.
Yeah,
Ultimate
but
fighting.
It's not on AMA.
It's what they call them now. Like if you do it, ask me anything, because it's more than it's not a FAQ, which is a frequently asked questions. Because let's be honest, if they're asking us, it's probably for the first time and not very frequent.
True.
So, all right. Well, I think that'll do it for tonight, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in. If you have anything, feel free to send any of us a message or anything like that. Next week we'll probably be doing an episode based off of listener feedback about being pillars of the community and why it can be a good thing and completely suck. It's definitely hit and miss. So yeah. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Twitch.tv/RPMMORadio. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want to reach out to us at rpmmmoradio@gmail.com, feel free to do that. We're also, of course, at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all, Google those things with RPM Radio. I don't need to give you the address. If you don't know how Google works by now, you're not going to go well with our new overlords. So with that, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I, of course, am Ashen Phoenix. Thank you for joining me, Rahanar, as long as you were here. So he had to bug out early because his beautiful wife called from the hospital and he had to get to her. Jazz, Kishma, Sib, Sibh'Bae, appreciate every single one of you guys joining us like always.
Night, everybody.
Y'all did a good job, except for that one.
Except for that one guy.
That one guy. I don't know about him. I don't know.
Not y'all.
Or girl. So tune in next time when we'll go over halflings and why they are an unlimited source of power if burned properly. Next time on RPMMO Radio.
Good night, everybody.
The thoughts and opinions of those on RPMMO Radio are just that and should not be taken as the gospel truth, but pretty close to it. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his great video game rock covers and his original music.